Subscribe to Fat and Broke.
Xin Chao, what's up everybody? It's your boy Fat and Broke. In this video today, as you can see just by looking at the screen, we're going to talk about Thailand versus Vietnam. Which country is better for tourists? Boy, oh boy, do I now have a lot of opinions on this. We still have not explored outside of Bangkok. There are plans to go back there very soon and do so. We will be raising funds for that via live streaming over at kick.com/Fat and Broke if you want to check that out. But boy, oh boy. Let's try to unpack the actual article first. So let me calm down. Let me slow down. I have a little coffee here. Let's see. Let's start reading. Many tourists say Thailand's landscape is not as beautiful and diverse as Vietnam, but the kingdom is attractive thanks to open visa policy and quality tourism services. Reader says, Thailand's landscape may not be as beautiful and diverse as Vietnam's, but its traffic infrastructure and traffic awareness are better than Vietnam's. Roads in Thailand have many cars but are spacious, and people could not face heavy congestion like in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. In addition, sidewalks in Thailand are not to be so crowded by local vendors, so pedestrians can feel free to walk. Thai people know how to take advantage of river tourism, as most tourists will enjoy a river tour. Voice similar opinions when it comes to potential of natural landscapes or cuisines. Vietnam completely beats Thailand. But Thai people do tourism better than Vietnamese people simply due to their high awareness. For Vietnam, tourism services are still chaotic with inconsistent prices, while the environment is still full of trash. Both Thailand and Vietnam boast similarities in weather and geographical location, but Thailand has outstanding points such as open visa policy, tourism promotion campaign, and high awareness of local people. Most Thai people, especially in tourist areas, can speak English, or at least they're willing to use Google Translate to communicate with tourists. Thai people do business without solicitation. They laugh and invite tourists to buy goods. Tourists don't buy, they laugh, but people never hear curses. In general, when visiting Thailand, I feel that people are very cool, gentle, and positive. You know, these are a lot of debatable things. All this stuff is all up until your vacation, and it can't really be too generalized. You know, vendors talk shit everywhere you go. It's just part of being a vendor in these markets. They talk shit. You just don't know they're talking shit because it's in a different language. I went to Thailand and found the landscape there boring with an uncomfortable climate. In my opinion, the scenery in Thailand is not as beautiful as Vietnam. But the price of tourism services is very cheap without rip-offs or harassment against tourists. I hope that the Vietnamese tourism industry will pay attention to this issue towards sustainable development. Lin. So we can kind of start to sound off on all this on our own here, which is what we're going to do. Oh, what happened? Why is this video not moving? Oh, there we go. So we're looking at Koh San Road right now on Bangkok. This is some B-roll footage I shot. So you're just going to be watching this as I kind of talk about it. It's better than just looking at my face, I think. Oh, wow. Where to really begin? I'm going to be truthful and honest about my opinions here. I really think Thailand is very much more set up for mongering and being a drinking place and partying. It's very much more set up for a Western-style person. It's a very easy place to go and travel from, especially if it's your first time overseas. You're going to have a very comfortable experience, meaning Western food, Western style lodging, tourists or people that live there, indigenous people that can speak English. It's going to give you a much easier vacation and it's going to give you much more options. I think Thailand gives you the options of having beautiful land. I think that guy in the article is probably talking about Bangkok would be more than likely my guess. But I think there's just as beautiful islands and lands as there are in Vietnam. So to say one is more beautiful than the other, I don't know if I could quite compare that. I think there's definitely more trash in Vietnam as well, too. They don't have a handle on the trash situation. But I think mongering is definitely the number one focal point on a person's willingness to travel to Thailand over other places, or the reason why. I think, especially in America, we don't really look at Asia. Typically, 10, 15 years ago, you didn't look at Asia really for a vacation. I'm telling you, like, it's not a place where we would look for vacations. We looked for vacations in like Mexico and stuff more around America, not so far. So, Thailand has been doing Westerners and tourism for a much longer period of time than Vietnam has, and they've been doing it at a more efficient rate, and their GDP is more so attuned to tourism than Vietnam's is. So they've got things way more figured out and way more catered to the Western and Westerner society in Thailand and in Bangkok, specifically if we compared Bangkok to Saigon. They have a mass transportation system, which we're going to have ours supposedly soon. There's tons of stuff where if you started to compare on paper, I think Bangkok's going to win probably logistically every time. But at the end of the day, I would still pick, Vietnam probably. It's a slower vacation. It's a vacation that lets you do what you want. It's a bit more rough around the edges. There's not going to be anyone that speaks English. Very few people. It's just going to be more fun, more raw for sure. It's going to be not as easy as a vacation as you would probably have in Thailand. I think there's less chances of getting ripped off in Thailand comparative to Vietnam as well. Although if you are a person that like travels and all this stuff and you like to research ahead of time, if you just go and watch YouTubers videos on like what to do and what not to do in these places, you're going to have a pretty good handling on how it goes. I don't think that any one place is better than another. And if you have the available time to do both on a vacation, I would highly recommend it to split your time. The cuisine is great. All right. So, as I was saying, you really need to go to both places. I wouldn't just pick one over the other. I think it is much easier to get around, transportation, more English speaking. You can pretty much buy a woman anywhere you go as well, as cruel as that, and not cruel, but as rough as that sounds around the edges of some people watching this video. It's very rampant with sex tourism. Like, I don't care what anybody says. It's definitely a focal point of Thailand. If you took it out of there, I don't think it would be nearly as popular. Sorry to tell you, like, if you go to Pattaya and take a look around, I mean, it's pretty, it's evident. I'm not crapping on anything or shitting on anybody. You can do what you want. Like, if you like to monger and be a sex pet and all that stuff, absolutely more power to you. Like, I have no problem with this in any kind of way. So I think it's more expensive in Bangkok. I would say it's about 25% more expensive. I spend $100 a day minimum in Bangkok. I think I could probably get the amount down, how much I spent, if I lived there more and stuff like this. I really don't drink anymore, so I think, I don't drink here in Saigon. I do drink a little bit more when I travel, so I'd probably still drink when we would go travel abroad, but I'm just not going to drink as much, Like, here, this B-roll, I think I just smoked a joint, which is legal in Thailand, and I'm blazed. So I was going to shoot a video, but I was just like, nah, let me turn it on. So that's the other thing. That's probably the biggest thing. If you smoke cannabis or enjoy marijuana or cannabis, it's 100% legal in Thailand currently. It is not legal in Vietnam in any kind of way. You have access to it, of course, here, but it is absolutely, excuse me, not legal here in any way. So if you're a pothead, it's a great place to do tourism in Thailand. If you want to meet other backpackers and hang out with other expats and want that experience, Thailand is so much more better for that than Vietnam. If you want to go to like Koh Samui and go to a midnight party, I just watched some streamers do it on Kick. It looks super fun. So there's raves, there's techno music, there's like little islands to go to. We have that here too in Vietnam. But it's going to be on a much larger and much more done scale in Thailand, and probably on a better scale. So all things suited to tourism are going to be overall better in Thailand. It's what they do. It's their bread and butter. So, and if you want to, if you're into buying hookers and all that stuff, it's going to be the place for you to be as well. Of course, you can do that stuff here in Vietnam. It all is dependent on the person. And my greatest thing is I don't pick either one. I don't think one is better than the other. I don't think one class of people are better than the other. I don't think Viet girls are better than Thai girls, etc., etc. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So your best bet is to just book a plane ticket on over to Southeast Asia, go for a week or two to Saigon, go for a week or two into Thailand. Check them both out for yourself. See what trips your trigger. I don't think, honestly, one's better than the other. If you are a person that hates garbage and doesn't like mass chaos that's controlled and a lot of yelling and loud noises and honking, I think Vietnam might be a skip for you, and probably go for the more westernized Thailand. That's really to suit it up. At the end of the day, this argument, in my opinion, which is not an argument, boils down to Vietnam is rough around the corners. It's not an English speaking place. It's not catered to an exact amount of people. It does what it wants. Thailand is very much focused towards tourism. It will help you to get along. If you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. So I implore you to just check them both out. You could get a nice little Twinkie lady boy like this. I see one in like a skirt right there, right? Yeah, the guy walking off to the right. But they're fun times, you know. You're in the low season right now, and you're never going to hear me talk crap about the low season. I think the low season is the best season in all countries. I'm not particularly looking to go hang out with huge groups of expats in countries in Asia. If you are, I understand. I mean, you see them walking by now, but these are probably groups of friends. It's always fun to meet up with people at hostels and go out at night, but I kind of find you fall into your own routine. I'm very much a solo traveler and explore stuff off the beaten trail. You know, one thing that I've been lacking over the years is because I live stream and YouTube everything is actually just naturally exploring with the camera off and just talking to people. Like, it's made me more of a, I can't even explain it. It makes me not want to talk to people doing what I do. It's as crazy as it sounds. So like maybe back before I had a YouTube and live stream, you know, I'd maybe go stay on like a Kosan, for example. I get to know all the vendors and stuff because I'd have time to go do all that. But nowadays that's not the situation. So guys, again, I can't recommend enough to go to both places. They're both completely separate. Wow, look at that. If you want to try to have relations with other white people, if you're not into Asian chicks, you're trying to bang down other white chicks, you're trying to fuck white chicks, you're trying to fuck backpacker girls, Thailand's going to be way easier and way better. Stay at hostels, hang out with hostel Johns. If you are not a brokey and you want to stay at a hotel, you can just go hang out at the hostels. In fact, like, I'm going to do a couple videos here. There's a really banging hostel over on Boy Vane now that's getting more popular by the months. It's even popular right now in the off season, but it's the place to hang out during the day and even slowly becoming at night off of the Boy Vane. You're going to have such a more slower experience here too. So like, you're not going to have a pumping party on Boy Vane like you're going to have a pumping party on Koh San. This is Khao San a year ago, about the same time, going into the rainy season right now. So about literally the same time. So you're in the low season right now, and this is earlier in the night. But this will get more busy. You're going to have more happening shit going on in Vietnam. And it's going to move at, Thailand, excuse me. And it's going to move at a faster pace, and it's going to be way more set up for tourism. I want to hear what your guys' opinion is in the comment section. I should have asked that earlier in the video. I always forget. If you haven't subscribed, of course, subscribe. You'll see in the beginning me flip around the sword. If you want to check out the Patreon, there's a bunch of additional content on there. If you want to rent an apartment in Saigon, that's the place to do it. And if you want to talk to me, that's over on the Patreon. So I would recommend that you get on there and holler at me if you want to do that. If you want to watch me live stream, we do that over at kick.com/fatandbroke. Okay. Thank you guys so much as ever. Stay frosty. We'll see you on the next one.